This program is paid for by Jacob Media Partners.
This is Sarah Hanley, President and CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. The Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia is your trusted resource for Catholic philanthropy. We are an independent nonprofit working to grow philanthropy according to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Our foundation is grounded in the principles of faith and service. CFGP meets the diverse needs of donors and Catholic institutions by providing a full range of fund management and fundraising services that help fulfill your mission. Our expertise allows us to steward your philanthropy as you intend, or help you raise funds needed to help grow your ministry. Since we were established in 2013, we're proud to have raised more than $148 million for our clients' ministries, established over 130 charitable funds, and granted millions of dollars to Catholic organizations in our community. Together, we can help you achieve your charitable goals, because at the heart of charity is love. To learn more about CFGP, please visit thecfgp.org or call 215-587-5650.
Jacob Media Partners invites you to spend an hour of your day celebrating your faith.
We acquire a fundamental right that can never be taken away from us: the right to hope.
In collaboration with the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and the Catholic business leaders of the Delaware Valley, including LaSalle University, First Trust Bank, and todayisagooddday.org. Learn from your leaders, be inspired by your neighbors, and find the power of grace in your life when you need it most. The spiritual Voices of Faith begins right now.
And welcome in, everyone, to this very special edition of Voices of Faith with Jimmy Brown and Joe Kraus. I'm Joe Kraus, navigating our special today. Jimmy Brown is not with us. We hold him in high prayer today as we bring you a 1-hour special from the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, which means we're going to spend the next hour educating our listening audience about a lot of different initiatives. We'll begin our conversation today with Sarah Hanley, the president and CEO of the Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Also scheduled for the show today, Father Keith Chylinski, who is a rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary. He will be with us. Dr. Tammy Tenaglia will join us. She's the vice chair, board of directors with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. And then we'll finish it up today with Bishop McIntyre, who will close everything out. But I welcome in Sarah Hanley, president and CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Sarah, welcome in, and thank you so much for having me here. And I'm very excited to finally be able to bring this 1-hour special together. Gina and I started planning and talking about this back in March, April period, so I'm glad that we're here.
Oh, thanks so much, Joe. We're excited that today is happening, and we look forward to spending some time with you.
I think the best place to start, Sarah, is for the listening audience, is to give them a little bit of an education on the Catholic Foundation, the mission, why the Catholic Foundation exists. Talk about that.
I'd be happy to. CFGP is something I love to talk about. We are an independent nonprofit community foundation committed to creating a Catholic legacy of philanthropy. We provide investment management and nonprofit development consulting to help meet the diverse needs of all donors and Catholic institutions throughout the Greater Philadelphia area. CFGP is really the go-to resource for Catholic philanthropy. Our goal is to ensure our donors are equipped with everything they need to make the most of their charitable intentions. At CFGP, essentially, we're committed to growing philanthropy according to the teachings of Jesus Christ.
The narrative or the mission has to be diverse. You use that word, it has to be.
It does. It does. I mean, there's so many different parishes, organizations, schools, ministries throughout our archdiocese and the Church of Philadelphia.
Tell me a little bit about your team. Tell me a little bit about the fuel behind the Catholic Foundation, because I think in every organization, the CEO, the strength of the CEO falls into what the team that you've assembled, who makes up the board, and that's part of having success.
You're 100% right. I feel blessed to work with an incredible team of dedicated professionals who are committed to making an impact in our community. Our team recognizes that it's our job to share our many blessings willingly. They understand that Catholic giving is one way we ensure our baptismal promises are fulfilled. Catholic giving goes beyond charitable giving. It puts a particular emphasis on our faith. Our team brings with them a professional, seasoned background in charitable giving, from fundraising management and development consulting to event management, grant writing, capital campaigns. They just deliver so much to help impact initiatives and make a difference in our community. In addition to our talented team, our Board of Trustees is extremely supportive of our work and truly live our mission. They represent a wide spectrum of experience and expertise, ranging from Archbishop Perez and other members of clergy to captains of industry like Dick Clark, our founding chair. As we celebrate our 10th anniversary, we're blessed to have founding board members still dedicated and participating on our board. We feel privileged to have men and women on our board who are committed to improving our community and supporting organizations throughout the greater Philadelphia area.
Sarah, so the listening audience has a visual theater of the mind of, how important it is and how much responsibility the team actually tackles, not only on a day-to-day basis, but just on on an annual basis. And we're going to talk about the I Give Catholic initiative in a moment, but there are so many required moving parts that fall under the group that you manage. So it's great to hear when you're able to talk about that. But my thought in listening to your answer was that every individual working for you is here for a reason. They're here for a very specific reason, and it's faith-driven.
You're right, Joe, and it's really we're a united team. We always talk about how together we can do more. And, when you look at CFGP overall, we manage right now over 130 different charitable funds. Those funds and our other initiatives have over 16,000 donors, and we have been able to distribute over $17 million to various Catholic organizations in the last fiscal year alone.
Wow, that's a big number. Really big number, which leads us to I Give Catholic, the initiative. Talk about it. Tell us what it means, and then tell me your personal joy for leading the charge on that.
Absolutely. I Give Catholic is a partnership between the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. I Give Catholic is nationally recognized by the Church as the official Catholic Giving Day, celebrating all aspects of our Catholic faith. I Give Catholic really inspires faithful stewards to Give Catholic on Giving Tuesday, the global day of giving, which follows Black Friday and Cyber Monday. The mission of I Give Catholic is to unite the Catholic community and donors throughout the country to give back in support of the organizations that have always supported them, parishes, schools, and nonprofit ministries. I Give Catholic promotes a collective culture of Catholic philanthropy within the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, helping to build additional annual fundraising capacity for parishes, schools, organizations, and ministries. So, Joe, it's interesting. This is the fourth year that we've partnered with the Archdiocese, and to date, more than $4.3 million have been raised to support hundreds of Catholic entities around the Archdiocese. So we're looking forward to this year where a record number of organizations have registered, 169 different organizations registered, and that includes a variety of nonprofit ministries, parishes, schools, and that includes the Archdiocesan high schools as well.
The three words, I Give Catholic, is very defined, very bold, and very direct. I Give Catholic really gives donors the opportunity to focus on supporting Catholic causes and going through that list of the 169 organizations that have registered and looking for the ministries, parishes, schools that impact their lives and taking this opportunity in a very intentional way to give back. Sarah Hanley is our special guest, our opening guest here today on this very special edition of Voices of Faith. Sarah is the president and CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Sarah, let me ask you about a milestone, that 10-year or the 10th anniversary. I think when in the context of being able to say that, whenever you can say or whenever you can get to a point on a timeline where you can say this is our 10th anniversary, that's substantial, that's very meaningful. Talk about that.
We're thrilled to be celebrating our 10th anniversary at the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. When the foundation started in 2013, it was the dream to build an organization that would not only help people all over the Greater Philadelphia area, but accomplish this with the love and intention of our Catholic faith. Our founding board members are a dedicated group of Philadelphia Catholics who wanted to help preserve the goodness of our faith. And really what started 10 years ago as a dream has turned into a thriving nonprofit foundation.
2023, I guess, represents then the 10th anniversary, correct?
It does. It does. And really, over the past 10 years, CFGP has, through many, many blessings, has been able to establish ourselves as the cornerstone or the hub of Catholic philanthropy in the Greater Philadelphia area, providing charitable fund management, grant making, nonprofit development consulting to Catholic organizations and supporting donors as well.
You know, we're going to, we've got quite a guest list that's going to join us today on this Voices of Faith special. We're beginning here with Sarah Hanley, who's the president and CEO. I want to ask you about some of your clients, and then I also want to ask you about your relationship with the Archbishop Nelson Perez. In preparation for doing the show today, I did go back and listen to some conversation that Jimmy Brown had with the Archbishop, and I think it was a year ago this month, which would make sense in November of 2022. And the energy that Archbishop Nelson Perez shared, the enthusiasm about being involved with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Pretty powerful stuff to hear directly from Archbishop Perez talking about that. Right?
Joe, that's so true. Working with Archbishop Perez is hope-filled and inspiring. The Archbishop has amazing plans for the people of the Archdiocese, and we're honored to collaborate with him. He strongly supports our mission, and one example of those collaborative efforts is the Archbishop's Ministry Support Fund. That fund provides assistance for ministries and initiative identified by the Archbishop as critical to the life of the Church. And this fund has allowed young Catholic professionals, or YCP, to create a Philadelphia chapter, which is thriving. It has also supported the Culture Project as it sought to establish a strong presence in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. And for those who aren't familiar with the Culture Project, they are an initiative of young people who set out to restore culture through the experience of virtue. And Joe, I do want to mention some of our amazing clients across our region. Our priests, educators, and social service providers have increasingly demanding jobs. Managing the creation of appeal letters, grant applications, social media, events, and capital campaigns can be overwhelming and unrealistic for many of them. That's where CFGP comes in. Our mission-first philosophy was designed to alleviate fundraising pressure, allowing our clients to focus on their mission. Some of our clients include the Catholic Charities Appeal of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, Catholic Social Services of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, the Little Sisters of the Poor, and many parishes across our region, and so much more. We've partnered with over 100 nonprofit development consulting clients, raising a total of more than $200 million, including $115 million for the Catholic Charities Appeal and $50 million for St. Charles Seminary. We're blessed to work with so many incredible organizations every day.
Sarah O. Hanley, President and CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, kicking us off today on this Voices of Faith special. Still to come on the other side of the break, Father Keith Chylinski will join us a little bit later on, Dr. Tammy Tenaglia, and then Bishop McIntyre will close us up on this 1 hour special. As we go into the break and as we pause for breaks throughout the 1 hour show, you'll hear some messaging from Sarah, actually, on I Give Catholic and the initiative. Sarah, I have 15, 20 seconds left before I take us to our first break. I'll give you last word, if you'd like, just to stress that I Give Catholic initiative coming up now here in the month of November.
The advanced phase of I Give Catholic is now open and will run until Monday, November 27th, with the Day of Giving scheduled for Tuesday, November 28th. To learn more about all the 169 organizations that are registered and make donations, please visit philadelphia.igivecatholic.org. We're looking forward to an exciting year.
Year number 10, Sarah O. Hanley, the President and CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. We'll pause now for a short break
The Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia is your trusted resource for Catholic philanthropy. We are an independent nonprofit working to grow philanthropy according to the teachings of Jesus Christ. CFGP meets the needs of donors and Catholic institutions by providing fund management and fundraising services that help fulfill your mission. Together, we can help you achieve your charitable goals. To learn more about CFGP, please visit thecfgp.org.
And welcome back, everyone, to this very special edition of Voices of Faith. Today, it's the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Special thanks to Sarah Hanley, the president and the CEO of the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, for kicking off this very special one-hour program. Father Keith Chylinski, as promised, is our next guest. Father Keith is the rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, and we welcome Father Keith into the show. Sir, welcome in. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Nice to have you with us as well. First out of the box, tell us or talk to the listening audience a little bit about the St. Charles Borromeo Seminary.
Yeah, it's a wonderful privilege to be there as rector. We are the diocesan seminary for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. We serve also 14 other dioceses throughout the country and even internationally. We currently have 145 seminarians that we serve, and it's both a college seminary and a graduate theology seminary as well. I
know that we learn about the seminary from our own parish when we go to Mass. So I know a little bit about it, but I don't know all of the details. The one very important element of the seminary is the annual appeal. Talk about that.
Absolutely, yes. So every year, as a means of subsidizing our operations, we have an annual appeal through which the Catholic Foundation assists us in running this campaign annually in the Archdiocese. And we offer to each of the parishes and parishioners throughout the Archdiocese the opportunity to help and support us. We have seminarians that often go out into the parishes to speak on our behalf. Actually, what's happening right now, these last weekend and the upcoming weekend.
Father Keith, talk about that a little bit. The appeal raises $3.5 million each year, and as you referenced or mentioned, that appeal supports a lot of different elements. Talk about that.
Absolutely. Of course, we have the campus operations that we run, but the seminary really, it's like any other kind of university structure. We have many faculty who teach courses in philosophy, theology, other courses, languages, administration. It's quite an operation to see how much goes into the formation of men, and also in addition to it being an academic institution, we run what's called a formation program. So we also bring in the expertise of counselors, of psychologists, of other experts who are really trying to form the whole person. So it's really a comprehensive program, which does require staff, faculty, and enough people to help give the education and formation we need for our future priests.
You know what, if I put you on the spot for just a moment and I asked you to tell the listening audience why the appeal is so important, how would you answer that?
The appeal is essential to our operating costs. It's an essential piece of how we continue the program each and every year, and without it, we wouldn't be able to function as a seminary and offer the programs that we do. We really offer a quality program that needs this kind of assistance.
The seminarians who visit the parishes bring with them, how would I say this, an enthusiasm to talk about that. or to talk about it when they come to the parish and they visit the parish, which I think is an amazing thing. That tells you a lot about those that are there. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yes. They talk about it in the context of the greater understanding of who they are as seminarians, offering their vocation, how God is working in the church, calling more men to be priests, and showing also the great spirit of joy and fraternity that we have at St. Charles. I've already gotten calls this week and emails from pastors who welcome seminarians this past week and how impressed they are and how hopeful they are in seeing this great caliber of young men who are preparing for the priesthood.
When you sit with the seminarians before they go out to visit a parish and speak to a community, is there a lot of prep work for that, or is it more just the reality of how real the individuals are?
It's both. We certainly offer, and through the foundation assist us in helping to prepare in terms of the nuts and bolts of presenting some of the key details, key facts that they'd like to share. But at the heart of it, and what was shared recently, we had a dinner where a couple of Sarah Hanley and Emily Gambino came out from the foundation to give some pointers to the guys. The key advice that they gave, which was perfect, was you just got to speak from the heart. Mm-hmm. And so your preparation ultimately is coming from this place where you're responding to God's call and being formed and being trained at the seminary. Yeah. And so they just share genuinely their own vocation story.
Yeah, well done, well stated. Father Keith Chylinski joining us here. Father Keith is the rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary. There are changes happening at the seminary, and I want to update the listening audience about it. One, I want to talk about the comprehensive campaign that is underway. Two, I want to talk about the relocation of the seminary, because I think that's a big, bold step, and I know there's a reason for that, so I want to cover that. And then last topic of conversation, Father Keith, is I just want to talk about how important and how vital the partnership is that you have with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. So first, let's talk about the relocation first. We know it. We've been told about it, but give us a good perspective on what it means, where it is, and what's happening with it.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a couple of things going on right now this year as we're preparing for the transfer from the Overbrook campus to Lower Gwinnett. So that the construction project is well underway, actually excitedly so, to the point there's roofs being put on the buildings and everything. We take pictures weekly, and we put them on our website so people can actually see almost in real time the progress that's happening. So this is going to be our last year at the Overbrook campus. We anticipate moving to Gwinnett in August of this year and be fully operational in the fall. So it's been quite a learning experience for me. I'm learning about electrical lines and sewer lines and all kinds of project development. But I have to say that, especially seeing the buildings coming up now, I'm very excited and very hopeful about our institution's future. Admittedly, it's not as big of a campus as what we currently have. The buildings are not as big, but they are more than adequate, seeing them in size. And I would say that it's actually very providential seeing how this construction and design of this new campus is coinciding with the new, what we call, program for priestly formation that the U.S. bishops have just published, the 6th edition. And there's a lot more directives now that go into forming the whole man, which includes the capacity to live in a close community. And the design of the new buildings, the more intimate setting that we have, actually will very much foster what the vision of this new PPF is calling for.
August of 2024,
correct,
right, is correct. The scheduled completion.
Correct.
And then shortly thereafter, I guess, is when you will, I don't want to say take ownership, but that's where you will start new in the fall of 2024.
Correct. And I don't know how many months that is, but it's less than a year.
Moving quick.
It's kind of scary.
Moving quick. Also want to ask you about the comprehensive campaign. Sure. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. So as part of this project, to solicit funds for the building, that's a significant aspect of the campaign, and even more significant is the building up of our endowment. And this is really to ensure not only the construction of this new campus, but our long-term sustainability. So the Catholic Foundation has been a key in running this campaign for us and helping us in this in ensuring the St. Charles's future.
Father Keith Chylinski, the rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, joining us here on this Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia special. Father Keith, I'll ask you one last question before I let you go, and thank you so much for spending some time with us on this program. The importance of your partnership with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. Put that into words for me.
Absolutely. Well, without the foundation, we would not be able to run this campaign. We would not be able to reach out to such a vast network of supporters throughout the Archdiocese and even beyond. And it's through them and this very long history that we have with them that we've been able to continue to operate, first of all, at our campus in Overbrook, but to develop all of these relationships. And that's what I've been learning in my role, is that all of development and all of the assistance that we're getting at the seminary is because of a sense of connection and belonging that we all have as a family of faith. And the foundation has been instrumental in fostering those relationships, which in turn foster the support, both prayer and financial, that we rely upon, that we need to continue.
You know, Sarah and I talked about it in the opening segment about I Give Catholic initiative. And my thought on I Give Catholic is it's such a bold 3 words. And I want people to feel good about embracing those 3 bold words.
Absolutely. Because what that means is when you say I give Catholic, it means I'm a believer of Jesus Christ, and I want to be part of his saving mission in the world. And through the various institutions that the Catholic Foundation supports, we're fostering that mission. It's the mission of the Church to save souls, to bring people to the way, the truth, and the life, who is Jesus. And especially at St. Charles Seminary, the forming of future priests, that's really at the heart of that mission.
All right, great stuff today from Father Keith Chylinski joining us on this special. Father Keith Chylinski is the rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary. Very good stuff, sir. I appreciate you coming on board and being a part of this Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia special. We will continue to educate the public on the other side of our break. Dr. Tammy Tenaglia will join us. Back in a moment.
The Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia is your trusted resource for Catholic philanthropy. We are an independent nonprofit working to grow philanthropy according to the teachings of Jesus Christ. Our foundation is grounded in the principles of faith and service. CFGP meets the needs of donors and Catholic institutions by providing fund management and fundraising services that help fulfill your mission. Together, we can help you achieve your charitable goals. To learn more about CFGP, please visit thecfgp.org.
And welcome back, everyone, to this very special edition of Voices of Faith, the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. It's a 1-hour special. Special thanks to Father Keith Chylinski, the rector at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, for joining us in our last segment. And as we roll along into the second half of our 1-hour show, we will continue to provide messaging in the breaks for I Give Catholic and talk more about the Catholic Foundation of Greater Greater Philadelphia. And with that, we welcome in our next guest, Dr. Tammy Tenaglia, who is the Vice Chair, Board of Directors with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. She is also the Chair of the CFGP Grants Committee. We'll talk about that in just a moment, Tammy, but welcome to this 1 hour special. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me on.
Well, you were selected because you are a founding board member. And I learned today in talking with Sarah Hanley in our opening segment about the 10-year anniversary, the tenure, the milestone, the depth and the scope of what the Catholic Foundation does for so many. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, my husband and I were approached 10 years ago to start this foundation, to be part of starting this foundation. It was a priority of Archbishop Chaput, and it really is, he felt that there was a need to have this foundation to bring people together to support the Catholic Church in Philadelphia, the Catholic faith in Philadelphia, I should say, because we just went through our strategic planning process, and we as a board are committed to supporting the Catholic faith, primarily in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia.
Now, Dr. Tammy, when you look back to 2013 and some of those conversations that prompted the beginning, and you look at the timeline, and here we are in 2023, you say, what now? It was a learning process. It was it was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Talk about that 10-year history.
Well, I think it's been a learning process. It's also, we've kind of formed, because we formed with $0 and just the commitment of the founding board members, and because there also was the need of the foundation of the Catholic Church to have the development piece through the Catholic Charities Appeal, the Seminary Appeal. Those kind of became our focus, and I think it became easier to kind of keep focusing on those and not growing the foundation base itself. And as a board now, we look at that and say, we really need to be about growing the Catholic Foundation itself by having donor-advised funds, endowment funds, so that Catholic organizations, Catholic parishes, Catholic individuals can leave their legacy of giving, because we don't know where the church is going to be in the next 10 years, what's going to happen. So, and a lot of people look and they say, you know what, my family's donated to the church for a number of years, and I look at my family and what do I have to show for it, because my kids aren't in school, my kids aren't in the church, my grandkids aren't in the church. So how do I leave an example of my faith? And the Catholic Foundation is one way that they can do that, by leaving a financial legacy that, that they can say our faith was important at one point, and perhaps that's something that brings their kids and their grandchildren back to the faith in the future.
I know that individually we all have, or we're all triggered individually by, different motivation. We had Father Keith Chylinski on, and we were talking about the seminary, and while listening to Father talk about his relocation, I kept thinking about my mother-in-law, because my mother-in-law would always enjoy when the seminarian would come into the church for their annual appeal, and she would always immediately write a check after that Mass, and her thought process behind that was she was contributing to what the world will become, not what her world is today. Very profound. I think she was so spot on.
No, I mean, that's a beautiful way to think about it. And it's not so much the buildings, but it's the faith. And that's why we really, in our strategic planning in this past year, really said we are focused on the Catholic faith and leaving that legacy behind, because we don't know what parishes will be here, what buildings will be here, but we know the faith needs to remain.
And do you feel as though, from your perspective, that the faith is stronger than ever?
Pockets. I mean, I also have involvement in more the international church through some of the organizations. So, yes, there's pockets. It can feel like we look around, and I think how I described, Philadelphia, because we're an older diocese, maybe we look around and we say we're in a church of decay, because we see buildings that are crumbling. We see a seminary that was 150 years old, now moving to a new location. But the church, the faith is alive and well, both in Philadelphia and around the world.
Yeah, amen. It certainly is. Dr. Tammy Tenaglia visiting with us, the Vice Chair, Board of Directors for the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, also the Chair for CFGP on the Grants Committee. CFGP, Tammy, supports, as you know, nonprofit organizations, ministries that demonstrate not only sustainability, but they also are hyper-focused on their faith. Talk about the grants. What goes into it? What does it, what do you look for? Talk about that.
So we have our formal grant process. I mean, anyone who has a donor advised fund can give money however they choose. But for our formal grant process, for the first 9 years, people would apply, organizations would apply, and we would give out grants based, a formal process. What we looked at and kind of sat back and said, we've given out a lot of small grants for this, for education, and we as a Catholic foundation have made very little impact. We were a foundation that responded to needs. We need to be a foundation that sets the tone, to be proactive. So we instituted this year, we had our first year, the Angel Award, and that was an award based on innovation in evangelization. So we ran it as a Shark Tank model. It was a year-long process of first organizations submitting a letter of intent of an idea. Once the grant committee would screen that, then we would go to the next phase where they would submit a more formal application of how they would use the funds, what they would do. So we went from 19 to 6. And then in October, 3 finalists presented to members of our board their idea. We also brought in the larger Catholic community. Everyone's invited to these Angel Award events, which we'll be having yearly, to hear what's going on, to hear the good news, to hear that there are things going out there that maybe we don't know about sitting in our pews. They can also become investors with us. So the Catholic Foundation grants out $50,000 with the minimal award being $25,000. Other investors can also come in and raise that prize money. Exciting, right? Unique. Yes. Different. Paradigm shift. And there's other. So Angel Award is the first one, is always going to be about evangelization. But it's a concept that now we have the program in place, so we can expand it to other aspects. Whether it's education or other ideas that people have, we can run the same kind of process. Give us an idea. Give the listening audience a little bit of an idea on some of the ideas or the 3 finalists, what they did. And, when I think of Shark Tank, I think, oh boy, standing in front, there's judges there, you're nervous, you've got to present, you've got props, you've got all these different things. Was it like that? Yes, it was like that. So we had three finalists. The winners were an organization called Live Vertical, and they are formed by laymen whose mission is to go out into the Catholic high schools and bring Jesus to the students through guided holy hours, through mentorship. That's their, and they also work with the campus ministers and other lay ministries to help form them, to provide support, to build each other up in faith. So they were the top prize winner. Roman Catholic High School also was another award winner of $25,000. So they split the prize money. Roman Catholic said, we realize we're a Catholic school, but our kids aren't necessarily practicing the Catholic faith, and religion can no longer be taught as a class. Jesus needs to be taught as a living relationship. And so they started a program called Walking to Emmaus, or the Road to Emmaus, and they work with the students. And actually, the Vertical is one of the groups that they bring in. But again, working with the students to say, your faith is a living relationship with Jesus, not a class you take that has a test, and now you've passed or failed and you move on. So they were both the winners. The third presentation was from St. Charles Seminary, was called Digital Angels, of sending out emails focusing on a saint a day. Mm-hmm. They actually received funding from an investor who attended, but there was 3 presentations. The minimum amount could be $25,000. So someone had to not get awarded by the Catholic Foundation. Now, how tough was that? Did it become tense? Did it become, or was it
did it exceed your expectations when it all played out?
So I wasn't the judge because I run the process. 3 of our board members were the judges. Once they heard, they went off to a room and debated. And I think it was pretty clear for them. I think the more tension was, presenting it at our last board meeting and people kind of hearing, well, but okay, 3, but someone might be a loser. Is there another way to break up the prize money? And really, it's not fair to the to the people applying, because if we had 5 people, then you're not going to say, do all this work, and by the way, we all want winners. Mm-hmm. In life, there are winners and losers, and no one's a loser in the fact that they get their ideas heard and out there. Mm-hmm. And like I said, there was another investor in the room who said, I like this idea, let me invest in this.
Well, the first year of what is the Angel Award will carry on, as you said, because it will move into 2024, and you'll open up the invitation for people to start with a description or define their thought, and then build from there. So perhaps 16 will become 32 in 2024 in an innovative way for in year number 10. Just a couple questions left. And we have 2 minutes left in the segment, but I do want to ask you for your personal opinion, Tammy, on why it's important for people to donate to the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia.
So as I said, it's important to donate generally to the Catholic Foundation because it allows us to support the work of the larger Catholic community. So through our development services, we are able to help parishes and other organizations who maybe couldn't operate as well and do the development that they need to do. But it's also important to leave your own personal legacy through donor-advised funds and endowments. So many of the things we hear, like the Ford Foundation is a perfect example. Good Catholic people leave money in a foundation. Generations on, that foundation does nothing to support the Catholic Church and actually fights against it. So what I tell people is you don't have to leave all of your wealth, but tithe Catholic wealth and put that in the Catholic Foundation for that legacy of giving.
10 years into the beginning with you, is there one thing that you would like people to know about the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia?
That we're independent, so we're in the diocese. We're not controlled by the diocese. We are here to support the Catholic faith, but we are independent. The Archbishop sits on our board, and it's great to have him on our board, but he doesn't tell us where to give and how to give, and I think that's important for the Church to know.
Dr. Tammy Tenaglia joining us here, the Vice Chair, Board of Directors with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, and congrats to you as we go to our final commercial break on the Angel Award. Very excited. I was excited to learn about it, and I think it's a new, innovative way to keep and to get people engaged. We'll take our final commercial break. On the other side, Bishop McIntyre. Back in a moment.
The Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia is your trusted resource for Catholic philanthropy. We are an independent nonprofit working to grow philanthropy according to the teachings of Jesus Christ. CFGP meets the needs of donors and Catholic institutions by providing fund management and fundraising services that help fulfill your mission. Together, we can help you achieve your charitable goals. To learn more about CFGP, please visit thecfgp.org.
And back here on this 1-hour special edition of Voices of Faith, today the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. And a special thanks to Dr. Tammy Tenaglia, who was our guest in our previous segment. So exciting to hear about the Angel Award, and there'll be more details coming in 2024. We shift and close our show today, our 1-hour special, with, I guess I can say this, Philadelphia's own Bishop McIntyre. Bishop McIntyre, welcome to this special edition of Voices of Faith. How are you, sir?
Good. I'm doing well. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be with you today.
Yeah, and thank you so much for joining. I want to ask you first, and of course for the benefit of the listening audience, Bishop McIntyre is the auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia and oversees Catholic social services, which means, Bishop, that You work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because what you oversee minute by minute is incredible in terms of what it means, what the Catholic Social Services does. Talk about that for our listening audience a little bit.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it is a vast network of mercy and charity, those good works of the church, and it's supported by really a phenomenal staff. So many of them have been with us for so many years and have a real sense of mission and vocation in their work. It's not just a job for them. So we're very blessed in that way.
Some of the programs, Bishop McIntyre, and there are so many, but can you talk about a program or two of significance that can share or allow the listening audience to more understand and visualize that?
Sure, absolutely. So, first of all, last year, 640,000 individuals were served by the various programs or initiatives of Catholic Social Services. So, on the one hand, it's just a magnificent response. First of all, a response of the command of the Lord Jesus to care for those who are most in need. What you do to the least of our brothers and sisters, you do to me. So it's just a phenomenal, a magnificent response to that word or command of the Lord Jesus. And at the same time, it's just a magnificent outreach in terms of its vastness and the network that it involves. So, for example, in or at St. John's Hospice, 350 men are given lunch every day. And often when I go to celebrate the sacrament of confirmation in a parish, the candidates will give a gift to St. John's Hospice in my name. And I always tell them that God never forgets their goodness to his poor. And the people of the Archdiocese and beyond our parishes have certainly never forgotten the men who go there to have a meal each day. So much of the food that is served is brought there by parishes and other churches and, served to the men. There's also our Good Shepherd program there, where men have the opportunity, after an evaluation, to come and live there at the hospice for a period of 6 months to get themselves back on their feet. We assist them in getting a job, perhaps dealing with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, and then eventually getting themselves set up in an apartment. So just a wonderful, wonderful work there. That's such a well-known and great part of that. Again, that network of the works of mercy and charity. Our senior housing programs that we run for low-income seniors, where adult seniors can live in a place where, first of all, they're safe, and also they have a beautiful apartment at their disposal, and areas of the house where they can gather for different things. I remember blessing the addition to St. John Newman Place in South Philadelphia, St. John Newman Place 2, and meeting a woman who was just overjoyed to be there because she described how in her previous home the heating system, the furnace, had gone down, and she just didn't have the money to repair it. So she was existing with electric heaters and kerosene heaters. So just things we take for granted. Mm-hmm. I take for granted that I'm going to get up in the morning and there's going to be heat where I live. This woman was just so overjoyed for that. And also the fact that she was in this center or house where there were other seniors that she could interact with. Different activities are planned for them in the house. So again, example of another one of those, great works of mercy and charity for our seniors. I think of St. Martha's Choice, that's run out of the bottom of the former convent at St. Paul's in East Norriton. And the gentlemen who run it, Patrick and Eli, just done a great job there in terms of expanding the outreach of that initiative to help those who are struggling with food, especially now with the rise in the cost of food with inflation. They did something I thought rather innovative, a few years ago. Often it's the case, although not always, when people will come to get some food at one of our centers or food pantries. They're given a box or a bag of food, and it may contain items that they may or may not use. So they started the practice or the custom of allowing people to come in for a certain amount of items, and they shop. They choose things that they want, and they know that they'll need. So again, just faithfulness to the command of the Lord to feed those who are hungry. So
Bishop McIntyre, when I listen to you describe some of those examples, obviously you think of the amount of expense and support that is needed. I want to ask you about Catholic Charities Appeal, the Catholic Charities Appeal, which supports the Catholic Social Services. Talk about that. Talk about the power and the meaning of the Catholic Charities Appeal.
Sure, thank you. So it's one of the long-standing appeals of the church in Philadelphia to our people to assist us in serving the needy, and people have been so generous to it over the years, giving what they can to support some of the programs that I just mentioned, and many, many more. Like so many different appeals this year. Given the fact that people are watching their expenses because things are more expensive, the appeal is down a bit. So we're hoping in this last stretch of the year, these last 6 weeks, to make up some ground there so that we can continue to support these different programs that we run for our needy brothers and sisters. So. For anybody who's listening, we greatly appreciate your generosity. And if you haven't had the opportunity to contribute to the appeal as you have in the past, I just urge you, for the sake of those who are helped, if you could be as generous as you can to help us support these programs, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated.
Bishop McIntyre, when we started this 1 hour special here on the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia, Sarah Hanley, who, as you know, is the president and the CEO of the Catholic Foundation, we talked about I Give Catholic, and we talked about how bold that statement is. Talk for a minute, if you will, about your partnership with the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. In the first 52 minutes of this broadcast, I have learned so much more about the foundation than I even realized before. There's what you know, and then there's what you really know. Talk about that.
Sure. So this is the second year, I believe, I hope I'm right on that we've partnered the entire Archdiocese with the Catholic Foundation for IGiveCatholic.com. And any entity in the Archdiocese, from parishes to high schools to the works of Catholic Social Services, are able to partner and have it as an opportunity to invite people to support the work they do. So all of the initiatives, the good works of Catholic Social Services, are a part of I Give Catholic. And also, it offers people, again, an opportunity to help our brothers and sisters in need, to be faithful in responding to that command of the Lord. But at the same time, if there is a particular work that they feel drawn to or appeals to them, they can support that particular work if they wish. So it's been a great help, and people have been very generous since we began it.
A couple of bullet points just for our listening audience. The Catholic Charities Appeal is the largest annual fundraiser in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. It actually was started back in 1958. And we talk here today about the Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia moving into what is their 10th year of and all of the great work that they do. One last thing from you, Bishop McIntyre, before I let you go, and I appreciate your time. Talk to the audience a little bit about the partnership with CFGP as it directly relates to the Catholic Charities Appeal?
Sure. So there are some very practical things. So the foundation runs the appeal for the Archdiocese. So they do, all the legwork and produce the mailings that need to go out and promote it, advertise it on social media and, venues or avenues such as that. And then they're involved also in the funds are sent to the, to the foundation to be collected and eventually, once everything is done, distributed to, Catholic Social Services again to support those good works. And they also do a lot of reaching out, telephoning, contacting people who have donated in the past to ask them to consider a gift again this year. So it's a good partnership and it's a big help.
All right, good stuff from Bishop McIntyre, the auxiliary bishop of the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. He oversees Catholic social services. And Bishop McIntyre, I leave you with this. The one way to never forget where you came from is to never leave. And you have never left, sir. Philadelphia's own Bishop McIntyre. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us on this 1 hour special. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You have a blessed day.
All right, you do the same. That's Bishop McIntyre joining us here and bringing this broadcast to a close. The Catholic Foundation of Greater Philadelphia. On behalf of Sarah Hanley, the president and the CEO, on behalf of Father Keith Chylinski, who joined us, the rector from St. Charles Borromeo Seminary, of course, Dr. Tammy, who's the vice chair and the member of the board of directors, founding member going back 10 years, and then Bishop McIntyre bringing us all to a close on this very special show. That's going to do it for this edition, this very special edition of Voices of Faith. On behalf of my partner, Jimmy Brown, I'm Joe Krause. Believe in hope, everyone. See you next time.